much. We really appreciate this. Thanks, folks. Don't give yourself a hand. It's cold and wet outside, and y'all came anyway. That's just a testament of how we love you, Stephanie. And Rennie, you're awesome. You already know.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, my name is James Montague. Most people know me as Monty. My wife, Wanza, and I grew up in the projects in Southeast Raleigh. I think we met when you were like 8. And her mama couldn't stand me. I mean, like, for real, like, don't go talk to that little boy. And probably the reason was because I was crazy. I grew up without a father in the home. So my mama had 2 jobs. So I did whatever I felt like doing. Part of which was climbing on the roof and throwing shingles off at kids, including her. Throwing eggs at the school bus. And I got in trouble for throwing eggs at the school bus. Not because I threw the eggs at the school bus, but because those were my mama's eggs. And she's like, well, you throwing my eggs at the school bus? I can't afford that. So, we grew up in Southeast Raleigh. A little bit about my story. I started out cutting hair in my mom's kitchen when I was 14 years old for 50 cents a head in the 80s. And in the projects, 50 cents was a lot of money in the projects back in 1983, 84. Went from there to barbershop, opened my own cosmetology shop, which I still own today, called my Auntie Salon. And everything was going well. We were doing well. My wife did nails, I did hair, and we were making money. We were what they call ghetto fabulous. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's who we were. Until 1996. Now, in 1996, I had all the money I wanted, had my girlfriend, we had cars, we were doing it. And I started having headaches. And what I didn't realize was I was taking dome back pills and all kind of stuff, but what was happening was I had a stroke at actually 26 years old, almost had died at 26 years old. And it was because I did not have, even though I had money, I was not balanced. I didn't understand how you're supposed to have balance with your spiritual, physical, and mental health. Money don't matter if you're not here to spend it, right? So here I am at a young age having a stroke and almost dying. That was really, really devastating to me. That was traumatic to me. And my wife was almost crying because she knows the story we went through. I was a platform artist, so I was a cosmetologist. Y'all know what that means? Mm-hmm. So I traveled around doing hair and doing the hair shows and just living the life. And to go from doing that, something I had done all my life, to having not be able to do that because the doctor told me I could not go back to doing whatever it was I was doing. It was too stressful for me. So that's how we got into real estate. After losing everything, because when you're working and making money doing this thing in this way, when you're not working anymore, you're not getting paid anymore, right? So, funny story, wasn't funny at the time, but funny story. So I was sitting there at a property that we own, and I'm sitting out there trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay stuff. And the sheriff rolls up, and the sheriff says, "You James Montague?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I'm gonna need your keys." I was like, "What do you mean you'll need my keys?" He says, "This car has been repossessed. You need to give me them keys." And I'm like, "I'm driving the car." He says, "No more are you driving that car." So when you go to a point where you have everything and then you start losing stuff, it kind of changes your focus. But more importantly, it builds your character and shows you who you are. Another story, not so funny, but happened the other day. So September 30th, recently. You saw that, Kim?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That's why it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about it, but y'all go.
Yeah. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
So September 30th, my wife and I, we built a house in Rocky Mountain. And we were there going to pick up a check from downtown Rocky Mountain. They told us the check wasn't ready, so we were going to go get something to eat. We go over on, was it 301? Right there at 301, sitting in a restaurant. We had just got in there. We were driving our Range Rover. We had just got out of the truck. Was not even raining, right? I said, well, I'm going to take this phone call. I said, well, no, let me go on inside. We went inside. We were inside for like 50 seconds. Mexican restaurant, because you know how when they first get you, when you get in there, the first thing they do is hit you with them chips, so that you're not going to get up and leave. So our chips hadn't even got there yet. So as soon as the little girl brought our chips to us, my wife looked. And it was a guy right beside us. And the guy said, uh-oh, here it comes. She's coming. And my wife looked at him and I looked at her because I don't sit with my back to the door. I'm ghetto. No, every ghetto person you ever meet will never sit with their back to the door. No. So I'm sitting like this. My wife is sitting there and the guy's sitting there. So he stands up and she looked at him and then she stands up. And I was like, what's happening here? So by the time I turned around, there was a tornado on us. And when I say tornado, I don't mean like on TV. You see a tornado coming, you're like, oh, wow, look at that tornado. I'm talking like it was rain wrapped and it was coming straight to us. So by the time my wife's sitting there with her mouth open, I said, baby, get up. What are you doing? Get up. She couldn't move. She was paralyzed. She was like paralyzed by fear. We got up, and by the time she got up, right, the tornado blew everybody down. Bust out every window in the restaurant. And all we heard was like furniture, those heavy wooden chairs and tables coming over like this, blew us into the kitchen. One dude got sucked out of the building. His wife was looking, you remember his wife? His wife was actually looking. She got up. The first thing she did was say, I can't find my husband. He was in the middle of a field. He was hurt really bad. So if you've never been in a tornado before, that is some crazy mess. Because you can't see anything for a couple of seconds, it takes your breath, you know, and you don't even have time to be scared. That's how quick it hit us. We didn't see it coming. She just happened to see something, but it was already on us. So when we got up, the first thing we noticed was the people that were hurt, ambulances and fire department, you know, just police coming from everywhere. And one thing I understood was at the time was, when it comes down to being afraid, it's only so much time you're going to be afraid until you start accepting the fact that God has your back. The fact that we got up and walked away from that situation, when a lot of people in this recent storm got killed. People lost loved ones, people lost property. Property's not important, you can get that stuff back. But people actually lost their lives behind this. And the fact that God spared us, let me know that God has our back. The company that we have is called F7 International Development. F7 stands for Faith in Action. And I named it that after I had my stroke, because my company was called Montague's Holding Company, so everything was mine. I'm Monty. So Monty's holding stuff. But when I came out of that stroke and got off of that deathbed, I changed it to F7 to acknowledge that God is in control. And I can't do nothing without him. We can't do nothing without him. You know, so we mentioned the ranch. So we built recently. We got what's called F7 Blackstone Ranch, and the reason why we did that was because last year, I don't know if you follow what's happening in Raleigh, but we're from Raleigh, and there's a school right beside our newest shopping center called the shopping center is called Montague Plaza, but the school is called Southeast Raleigh High School. Last year, kids got to fighting. One kid got murdered in school. Stabbed to death in school. I've never seen that. I've seen fights at school. I've never seen anybody get killed at school. It wasn't, the bad part was the kid being killed at school, but the worst part was the trauma of the children seeing. Children that woke up to go to school that day and end up seeing someone bleeding to death in school. That's trauma. We don't get that. And just so you guys know, the kids are not okay. COVID did something to our kids. Our youngest baby, me and baby no more, he's 20 years old. His last year in school was not in school. His last year in school, he turned into somebody that we didn't know. Because he was not able to go to school. He didn't get the interactions with the other kids. Any of that stuff. So a lot of our kids missed a lot of their childhood. When we were kids, we ran and played. I was the stupid in the neighborhood, but I still played. I still went to school. I graduated. I went to prom. We did all these things. A lot of the kids didn't get that. So the kids are not okay. So the reason why we bought the ranch is because we want to do equine-assisted health and learning. We built that as a mental wellness center. And Stephanie, you helped reading. You're awesome. They helped pull the plan together. Recently, we got Blue Cross Blue Shield. signed on to approve us as a wellness site. So they're going to start backing us up in January. Lenovo has sponsored. A few banks have sponsored. A lot of these people are sponsored because they know we have to do something for the children. Because the kids are not okay. They're experiencing a lot of things that we never saw. We never saw a lot of the things they're experiencing right now. When I was a kid, if we wanted to know something, we had to ask an elder, or your pastor, or your uncle, or somebody like that. If you wanted to find out information, we had what's called the encyclopedias. Y'all know what those are? Y'all know, a lot of the younger people are like, what is that? Encyclopedias were a volume of 26 books, right? With 30 to 40-year-old information in them at the time, right? That you had to go and look and say, okay, this is the answer to this right here. That became your answer. And if you wanted to find a phone number, you couldn't go on your phone and scroll. You had to get what's thing called a phone book. Y'all know what a phone book is? About that thick, and it was about 2 of them. As a matter of fact, if you live in a big city, so you had to thumb through and find information in the phone book. Right now, though, the kids can just mash Google or talk to the phone, and it gives them the answer. Now, a lot of times, those answers are not right, but they don't have anything to weigh it against. So a lot of the things that they accept as being right and acceptable is not really right and not really acceptable. So there's really no spiritual base. Your phone doesn't care if it's immoral what they're telling you. This is just the answer. So we have to battle that. And that's why right now the families are kind of falling apart. Because the kids are not talking to us. They don't have to talk to us. They feel like they got the answer already. So we have to be there for them. And the reason why we did the ranch is because we want to have a place where they can go in a natural environment. We got 3 ponds out there. We have horses out there. We do hay rides. We have STEM camps. I met a young lady earlier. Where's the lady I talked to that does a STEM? Right there in the back, right there. So we're going to be working together. We're going to be doing some stuff. But we have a place where they can feel like they belong. And they don't have to put on airs or fronts. They don't have to be mean. There's no gangs trying to initiate them. There's no drugs out there. There's no weapons. You know, we're just kids being kids and having fun. You know, we got to remember that. That's what they want. So I don't want to talk y'all too much, and my wife was telling me it's time now. But thank you guys for the award. Stephanie, we really appreciate you. We appreciate everybody here. Reading, thank you again so much for helping us put together the proposal that actually was winning for the Blue Cross Blue Shield for us. So thank you. Everybody give Reading a hand. A lot of times people are like Rennie is support, and a lot of times you give her credit, but a lot of times people in the background don't get the credit they deserve. Y'all do. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.